We used to joke about ending up on the list.
Yeah.
But now we're all on the list because the list is everywhere. It's just a question of how high up you are.
The internet has been turned into, it's been weaponized into just a mass surveillance system. And we're all taking part in that without even realizing it. And asking technology providers to give up encryption keys. Yet, you know, what should we be doing? As a nation state in Ireland, we host and house one of the biggest technology companies in the world. The Facebook, the Twitters, the LinkedIn's, they are all here. But as a country, how can we stabilize that ecosystem but protect people's and their human right to privacy?
Is law the right mechanism for sort of addressing these grievances, for enforcing our rights in an increasingly globalized world, particularly in global networks? Maybe the Barack Obama problem, where he was predominantly seen, you know, as a progressive, very liberal president who would be respecting rights. But he campaigned on ending warrantless surveillance, and he in fact expanded it. If you look at the number of lives that are lost in Western Europe due to terrorism, which is a serious problem, it is far less today than it was in the 60s and 70s. Politics and law are becoming increasingly unreliable, even in what we would consider to be open societies, right? Free jurisdictions. Particularly when you see Russia is passing new and extremely aggressive abusive surveillance laws. They did just last year. The Russians call it the Big Brother law. Right? If the Russians are calling something the Big Brother law, you know it's bad. Really, law is predominantly normative. People like to think of the law as establishing how governments work. But the law only has that effect insofar as the government abides by the law. When I came forward, the reason this had so much resident impact around the world was because the government was violating the laws in the United States. The UK was violating its laws in the United Kingdom. And this is why they all sort of tried to rush through ways to legalize what they've been doing in a post facto manner. Should we trust any powerful institution, any powerful authority? And of course, anybody who works in the security space would tell you that trust is always a vulnerability. The EU has a lot of different privacy regulations. Say what you will about them, right? Some may be good, some may be terrible. The US has no real, meaningful, general privacy regulation. I was en route to Latin America when the United States government froze my passport and trapped me here. Now, we don't know why they chose to do that. We only know that they do. I applied for asylum in 21 different countries around the world, including Ireland.
Sure.
And whenever one of these governments got close to saying, okay, you know, come over, the vice president or the secretary of state would call their foreign minister and say, look, if you do this, there are going to be consequences. Now, as a dissident, I think it is absolutely tragic, even repulsive, that the only place an American whistleblower can be safe is in Russia. And I think Europe would agree that this is not an ideal situation. And this is why, of course, I would still like to leave. I'd like to go home, right? And I told the US I have only a single condition for going back, actually volunteering me for myself for a trial, which I certainly won't win because it certainly won't be fair. And that's that they allow me to make a public interest defense, that I can tell the jury why it is that they did what they did. And they said they won't agree to that, but they countered by saying they promised not to torture you.
Why do you feel you particularly became that, I won't say scapegoat, but that pariah for America to say, this person has betrayed us and is a traitor and has put us all at risk? Wow.
As long as you provided classified information to someone who is not, in the government's eyes, supposed to receive it, you're guilty of a crime, 10 years per count per document.